Good evening. Two hands here, both from the cutoff. Hand number one is Ace Queen offsuit. We have Villain 9 raises. I have more than 1,000 hands on him. He is playing 12-8. What is his range? So we're currently 7-handed. I have a note here that he might be old man coffee. So what is he going to raise first in with? Technically the middle position. I have him raising 9% of hands. I think this is going to be pretty easy to put him on a pretty tight range. That's 10%. I think we can easily get rid of those hands. That's 9.2%. That may be actually a little wide. I am going to leave Ace Jack in there. I do think he'll tend to play aces. And now it comes down to my hand, Ace Queen. Do I call? Do I raise? I think somewhat of this larger bet will likely change some of the weights. So by raising the 5, I think what I'm going to do is change this to only say 70% aces, 70% kings, probably 70% ace kings. I think higher weighting is going to be for these pocket pair hands because he doesn't really want to play those. For for a smaller bet and get callers. So I'm gonna do those as he would have raised 3 big blinds or whatever, and then all these other ones I'll say 5 big blinds. And actually we could probably scale it back a little bit more and say 70% probably applies to all of these, and probably even like 6, 7s, and 8s. That's gonna change his. You can see that changes his opening. But I think, with the raise like that, he doesn't want to call. So now it comes down to us. What should we do? I do think we could call. There really isn't any player that demonstrates a high 3-bet percentage. If they don't have the high 3-bet percentage, I don't think they're going to be willing to squeeze us. This person's squeeze is only 2%, so 4 out of 176 times. This one should be 0 out of 13. This one, 480 hands, his squeeze is 1 out of 45, so I don't have to worry too much about being squeezed. If I raise, I do think he's going to be calling with these pocket pairs. I think he's going to 4-bet with aces and kings. I think that 4-bet allows me to get rid of my hand, but I think if I 3-bet, he's gonna come along with ace king. So if I flop an ace, it's gonna be somewhat hard for me to get away from my hand. I think if I 3-bet, he'll probably call with these pocket pair hands. What if I just call? How likely is he to c-bet? He tends to c-bet quite frequently, so he's going to probably c-bet with most of his range here. And that's no big surprise because he has a tight range, and when we look at his breakdown, he does have a lot of pairs here, and he would be betting those pairs. So against this player, I do think we can raise, but at the same time, I think that if we just call and the board is favorable, he is going to c-bet. So if the board comes out aces or brings an ace or a queen, I'm going to figure that I'm likely ahead most of the time, and I do think he's going to probably c-bet. So we can get that bet there, get that bet in from quite a few. I think ace jack is going to bet, ace 10 would bet that, king queen would bet, queen jack would bet. So we do have plays. It's probably close either way. So I did just call, and flop comes queen high. So I do think he's going to be betting here, and he's going to be betting with basically any of his pairs, including his small pocket pairs. Probably his flush draws, open-ended straight draws, flush draw pairs, flush draw OESD, flush draw gut shots. I don't really think he bets with his gut shots much. Although his gut shot, we can leave a couple. I mean, ace king, I think, might bet here. So what we'll do is we'll say his overpairs bet. That's 88% of the time. He bets, so I'm fully expecting this is his range. We can raise, and I think if we raise, we're gonna fold out a lot of different hands. I think we're going to be folding out all of these smaller pocket pairs. He'll continue with top pair, and that's really, I think, what we're trying to get paid from. We're trying to get these top pair hands to come along and pay me out. I don't really think Jax is going to end up paying. He's too tight. So I think he's going to give us very reliable information if we call. So if we just call and he bets, he can beat Jax. He probably has top pair plus. And for that reason, I think just calling is probably the play. 7 of hearts comes out. Now he bets, fairly large. So I do think it's going to be top pair over pair. I don't think Jax is betting here. I really even don't think flush draw or open-end straight draws are betting. I think they're going to be check calling for this old man coffee type. So against that range, you can see that we're only 16%, but that has sets over pairs. And the question is, would you continue betting the size with sets? I don't know. Over pairs definitely. So if we take out sets and say, look, he's not going to be betting, then our equity is 23. The pot odds are giving us 30. Even though we're not getting the odds based on our equity, I just can't believe I can't fold. So I called, and then 6 of hearts comes out, and now he checks. And I think at that point we can get rid of all of his sets and his overpairs. And I think with this top pair, we split with ace queen, but we beat ace king. So I should say if we went back, I guess I forgot here, we also have the factor in the tie. So we outright win with 16%, we tie 21%. So that's a total of 38%. So yeah, I guess we are getting the odds to call. And then when that 6 of hearts comes and he checks, I think it is entirely top pair. We're going to win 14%. We're winning 40%. We're tying 60%. I think if we bet, he is going to call with all of those. So I think I think our play here is to bet, and I think we bet him all in, get him to call. I don't think aces and kings is. I think aces and kings would have continued betting. But we checked, and he shows ace 10, and that's actually weaker than I expected. So if we go back, I kind of assumed at this point it was just top pair. But I guess if he also has middle pair, he would also have this pocket pair below top pair that he's betting. So he adds that, and then I didn't have ace 10. So we have to kind of go back and revise and say, well, were we correct in our 70%? And obviously not there. So maybe he is just standard. He's had enough. If I'm going to raise, I'm going to raise all the way. So I added ace 10 in here. I didn't think ace 10 off would be in his range, but maybe since we're down to 6-handed. I've played a lot with this character. So we're there. We're going to leave everything in his range. And then 7 of hearts. I should say we're not changing anything here. 7 of hearts now. You look 47% since he could bet all of those. And then 6 of hearts. And here is where I don't think he has that overpair anymore. And I start to wonder top pair. So maybe he has top pair still. Maybe he doesn't. If he has any of these pairs, would he call a bet? Maybe middle pair. Maybe he'd call a bet. Would he call all in? Maybe. If we think he will, then we should definitely bet for value. All right, so this is hand number 1. Let me close things out and get hand number 2. All right, hand number 2 is pocket sixes. We have a player that that min raises. Min raises from under the gun. He's playing 30 BPIP and 7. Pre-raise first in's only 7%. I'm gonna guess that this is pretty weak with that min bet. Maybe something like this. 6%. I should definitely raise it here. And I think we're raising for isolation. If he's going to make this bet, he's got a weak range. It's a weak player. He will likely check fold on a lot of flops, so we don't really even need to connect with it. Another thing about raising is that we're going to apply pressure on these players. So all of these players, this guy has called 2-bets 62% of the time. He's loose. This guy's loose, playing 48%. This guy's pretty loose at 31%. So all of these, I think if I just call here, these guys are probably going to call too, and we're going to take a multi-way. There's nothing wrong to go multi-way and hope to set mine and try to bust people, but I think this could be a good spot where we can raise with pocket sixes, raise and isolate, and get heads up, and then probably win the pot on the flop if I don't win it right here. What's my raise size? I definitely think we're going to have to go up to 9 or 10 big blinds. We're going to have to apply that pressure. So I didn't do that. And then you can see that everyone else comes along. So let's look at these ranges. See what happens here. All right, so we call, and then this guy calls, and he is calling a 2-bet from the big blind, or from the button. I have 26% right here, and that just seems odd. When he has all of these other big hands, that just must be an anomaly or somebody's raising. So I think we are just going to go, let's say 50%. Say, 50%, that's a good range. This guy's going to be a little bit tighter. I only have 30 hands on him. So right now I've got him at 34. Let's say for this player, I've got 400 hands on him. He's playing 34-5. We're not going to give him 50%. He's in the small blind, so we'll do something like this. We'll give him all of those pair suited aces, suited kings, maybe all of the offsuit aces. That's probably his range. And then we have this guy who's playing 48-18, and quite possibly he could have all of the cards here, 83%. Let's do that. Something like that. I mean, almost all the cards. So pocket sixes, at this point we're set mining. If we hit, we're continuing. If we miss, then we're out. And here I did hit. So ace of spades. What do we get? 7 of diamonds and 6 of hearts. This is going to hit a lot of different ranges. Obviously you're going to have any of the 6s, any of the 7s, the straight draw, so 8, 9, probably 9, 10s. All of the aces are going to hit. I think they're all going to continue. So here we have a donk bet. He donks at 11%. At that point, that donk bet here, this guy, I think we are looking at probably a top pair type hand. We are not going to include an ace king, ace queen. I think those are premiums. I don't think they would donk bet. Pocket pair below top pair, quite possibly bet to see if there's aces out there. I don't think middle pairs are going to donk. I really don't think sets or 2 pairs. I think those hands are just going to be, check raise. I don't think any of these draws are gonna donk. So I think I've got pretty narrow range for him. Next 2 guys fold. So he folds, and it's on us. What should we do? So I'm gonna go back to here. He bet 1 big blind. So I'm actually gonna widen up his range. I mean, he bet 1. he's probably expecting a lot of people to be folding. So yeah, we're gonna give him a lot of these draws, a lot of these pairs. And then now it's on us. And the question is, if we call, we encourage him to call. If we raise, it applies some pressure. It kind of suggests that we have an ace. Now, if we raise, this guy is definitely going to be calling any of his top pairs. So if we raise, what kind of cards is he going to call with? I think top pair plus, probably all top pair plus. I think open-ended straight draw is going to call. I bet gut shot's going to call, and that's about it. So if we raise, he's going to call 36.5%. If I don't raise, he's probably going to call with all of these pairs, gut shots, and so 55%, so add another 20%, and it's questionable even if he'll call with the bottom pair. He may just say, you know what, I'll call with these, pocket pair below the top card, so 8s to kings, but versus a raise I won't. So, you know, is it worth it to get six more hands? I don't think so. I do think we should be raising here. How much should we raise? I think we raise to maybe six big blinds, and see where we go from there. That's pretty good. I raised to 7. I like that. Villain 4 folds. No big surprise. He was only going to continue with 36% of his range. So now we're here. Let's get heads up here with that range, and we have 6 of diamonds, 6 of spades. All right, so you can see we're at 82%, and he calls. So now that he bets, I raise, and now he calls. I think he'll probably dump his bottom pairs. His pocket pair is less than the board. He might come along, maybe with 4s and 5s. 2s and 3s, we'll get rid of those. He'll call those, and then I think the gut shots and open-ended straight draws he comes along with. So we see the turn is a 2. He checks, and the question is, if I bet, is he still gonna call? I think he's gonna call with top pair plus, and open-ended straight draw, probably not the gut shot. So I have 58.8% of the time he's going to call. I think we should definitely bet. He's going to be calling more than 50% of the time. I didn't hear, and I think that's a mistake. What could I have been thinking? I could have been thinking that now my raise kind of looks like 8-9. But, you know, at the same time, if a 10 comes out, or let's say a 9 comes out, am I really going to get paid anymore? I don't think so. I think if I bet, he can just fold, you know, a lot of his pairs, whereas there is a chance that he might say, you know what, I don't believe that you have the ace. Maybe you're on a draw. I'm going to call with all of these top cards. Or now he's going to call with top pair, but if the board gets scary, if a 5 comes out, he's not going to pay. He's going to fold all of those top pairs. So I think we should have bet. I didn't, and then the 8 comes out, and I think that's exactly the reason why. 8 comes out, it makes this board really scary. I think if I bet, and I bet sizable, he could fold his aces, and especially fold a lot of, you know, since he has the weak kickers. Now he leads 21.9, and the question is, what is he leading with? I guess in his mind, we bet, and then we check the turn. We probably had a draw, and now we may have had top pair, so I should say a pair of 8s. So now I think he could be betting this much with top pair, 2 pair set. Probably not pocket pair below top pair. Do I think middle pair? I don't think so. I think he's got a value hand. So I should definitely be calling here, especially since it's only 21.9. I did call, and what am I gonna say? We're gonna say he's got that range. He shows 8-9, which is kind of. I didn't think he'd do it with 8-9, and actually, I didn't have 8-9 offsuit on his range. So if he has that, I mean, that's one more that he could have had. Yeah, I think in the end we're gonna call. I think I bet the turn he still calls, get it all in, and I think that's when we should have bet. We shouldn't have waited until the river. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Look tomorrow for a couple more hands.